Okay, so you mentioned that you published your own book
Yes.
and learned about the challenges and then tried to fix. So at Gibra Learn, what are the areas which you have tried to fix? And prior to that, what are the challenges you faced
Sure.
as a first time publisher? What challenges you faced and how you're trying to address them in Gibra Learn?
Sure. So I'll begin with my journey, what my experience was, and talking to publishers and literature agents, and just researching the industry. Um, my experience was the quality of content was secondary for a success of book. Uh, Primary thing that mattered was how many people could the author reach out directly themselves. The basically what we call within publishing distribution. What was the author's distribution? For example, someone with 1 million followers could write a mediocre book, and that book would be read more widely as compared to someone who's exceptionally smart and has far better content and knowledge to share, but will not be able to do so because they will not have those followers, they will not have those distribution directly for them, and because they have been in other forms of life, maybe which is not more consumer facing. So that is the first problem that we identified from a reader perspective, that content is not really the king. Marketing is,
Mhm.
which is something we did not, or to me did not do. I did not like it. Somewhere content had to. And having said that, I can't say that we have completely removed it, but I think we are very proud to say or think that we don't optimize at all in our author selection process basis on how many followers you have or how many people know of you. We purely optimize on what's your work been like, what's your journey been like, and we sign the contract very late. Basically, we get the index done, we get some sense of how the content will look like from the authors. Is it making sense for the reader? We test all our content on three principles: how exhaustive it is, how actionable it is, and how relevant it is for the audience. Meaning, it should be complete, it should be something that one can act on, and it should be about you, not about some other country or some other geography. So that is why we are trying to bring focus back to content. That was one of the largest problem statements that I identified working as a first time author. um, Second thing I think is also from a reader's angle. From a reader's angle, the completion rate of books is down, mainly because of attention span, mainly because of things like things like maybe Instagram reels and short form of content, maybe video content, all these things, and just content as a whole. So there, what we did was we have a research and development team in our business, which is like so what we did was, as an experiment, we did take about 2 weeks there. We identified different learning mechanisms. How do people learn? And we identified about 36 to 37, again, not an exhaustive list, which, like, books is one of them. Podcast is another format, short form content, and all of these. So we identified all those things. And our experience was that whenever someone is serious about education, serious about meaning they want to learn something holistically or completely, something that's critical to them, only two three things that work for them is maybe a live course, maybe a recorded course, maybe a book. YouTube and all these will not be directly relevant when it comes to learning a um, new piece of a new skill. For example, let's say you want to learn about
Let's
let's
say
say how to
investment. Let's say investment.
let's say you want to learn about investments. So now, to learn about investments, uh, you can't start at Instagram reels. You cannot start with YouTube. You'll have to start with a book, you'll have to start with a course. So the raw form of learning still remains intact. Only the incremental learning has moved from books to something like an Instagram reels, to something like a YouTube, and that adds a tremendous amount of value on something that you already are familiar with. So that is how we bifurcate, I think, the core source of learning and newer sources of learning. And in that target audience, the people who are reading or learning a new skill, in that target audience, the reading rate is still very high. So these are two three learnings that we had when we started publishing. that learning rates across are not low. Learning rates where there is a need to learn a new skill, that is where learning rates are pretty high. And secondly, and before that, we don't want to be in a space where content is written based on distribution. It should be written based on merit. I think these are two things that Zebra Learn has been successfully, we have been able to solve for successfully. I'll tell you how. In our process, we, again, as I said, we don't pick based on distribution. We bring in most of the distribution to the readers, to the audience, or to the author, in for that matter. So that is why the author, in that sense, can focus purely on the book, the content, and then focus on the marketing side of it. So that allows the author to do the right things, or focus on the right things, and also allows us to work with the authors that actually people would want to hear about. Having said that, nothing against people who have distribution. Again, they've shown their value and worth in people in front of a large audience, and again, that is a very separate discussion, but we don't want to optimize on that. That's how we think about it. Second thing, about completion rates. So how we do books at Zebra Learn, we do three things in all our books. Number one, our books are supposed to be very actionable. We optimize a lot on actionability of a book. Number two, our books are very visual in nature. So if you check out some of our books, these are very visual. These are very easy to read with. Easy to read because they're not black and white text. There are a lot of colors, a lot of pictures. So idea is very serious content, but lot of fun and lot of engagement in the presentation. And third thing is, we have a layer of what we call value adds. So value adds, meaning, we have a book which has a set of podcasts with it. We have a book which has QR codes with it. We have a book that has playing cards with it, that has a puzzle with it. We have a book that has a lot of personality tests with it. So on and so forth. What these things do is they make the book go beyond the book and make it very engaging. So this is how we are trying to lead to better completion rates of books, as compared to books just being bought and kept on a shelf. So yeah, I think these are some of the experiences that we are trying to solve for from an author perspective and from a reader perspective.